Hey guys, I'm Prodigy from ASTKilo23. Recently I've been having several people ask me about how to get into the trigger box of a Tokyo Marui VSR10 or a JG BAR10 or similar rifles. Now this video is going to basically depict how to do that. Right now I've got the receiver and barrel apart from the body. If you're unfamiliar with how to do that, there are many other videos that show you how to use a screwdriver or Allen key. Basically start by taking the body off, like I said. Mine might look a little different. I have a spring here to hold the spring guide, pin, whatever you want to call this thing, in, because mine's come a little loose. This is just a standard motor spring that you can find in any AEG. Set that aside. I like to lift my bolt up when I push this down, makes things a little easier. There we go. Alright, that's down. You can take your bolt out. Set that aside. Take a Phillips screwdriver. Unscrew the screw here. I've got mine really well screwed in so my trigger guard doesn't start moving around. And it only is held in by one screw. The other part is just this little piece that holds in. Alright, that's off. I really suggest taking this part out, the little pin here. It makes things a lot easier. Alright, next up you've got two screws, one in back, one in front. It's best to keep these really well screwed in. They're both the same size, so don't worry about which one's which. Now, I hate how wobbly this thing is, the back piece. Right now it's only being held in by one screw that's keeping the actual rail on right now. So basically you can go ahead and set the entire barrel and receiver aside. We're going to focus on the trigger box. Alright, now the trigger box is not really that complex if you're used to working with spring guns. I've only got two upgrade parts in this, the piston and trigger sear. They're both from, well actually the trigger sear, the big long bar here, is the Airsoft GI PE part, and the piston sear is a Lilacs piston sear. So far it shows very little wear. It'll probably last for a long time. Now this part here does show a little bit of wear, and it will have to be replaced eventually. Same with the little pin that comes out. It is showing a bit of wear because it's pot metal, and you know they all will have to be replaced eventually, one way or another. Now, the only other difference you might notice is that I have two little springs here. That's so this thing does not move around that much. I've had problems when I bolt this gun. It will not bolt actually, and it will fly forward and it'll end up loading 2 rounds at a time, and it's really annoying in actual combat. When you're out in the woods and you're trying to snipe someone, but they hear your stupid bolt clanging around, and it's like, oh, there they are, shoot them. So these two springs help keep this thing centered so that it will actually bolt when I want it to bolt. Go ahead and take out the 4 screws that hold this thing together. The front one is the smallest one, just keep that in mind. Now, I believe one of these is stripped out for me, so I just end up pushing it out, and it's that one. I really should get a new trigger box, but I don't want to spend the money right now. Alright, the screws are out. You can literally lift the trigger box apart. You might have to take a flathead. It is a little stiff in some sections, and as you can see, these two springs made everything fly apart. So I'm going to reassemble this the way it should be assembled when you open it up. Now this is what you should see when you open it up. Obviously the trigger and piston sears are going to be different colors, since, you know, if assuming your trigger box is stock and you're taking this apart for the first time. Now basically this is the trigger right here, and it can be adjusted for, you know, trigger pull length with an Allen key screw. Basically it's got little springs here and a little thing in the back, so it's a really, I've got mine at a really short trigger pull. It's just kind of a hair pull. You got this little thing right here. I really recommend keeping an eye on all these springs. This thing has 4 springs inside it, and I did lose one, so I had to kind of makeshift one of them. You've got this spring right here, this spring right there, which is for the trigger sear. Spring right there, and the spring that keeps this all frolicky and all. Now, what people really want most is to know how to upgrade their piston and trigger sears. Keep that pin right there, it came out just now. I think it only goes in one way, one end is probably bigger than the other. The spring goes in this little hole here, you can set that aside until you're done. I'm actually not going to take this apart for you now because it's an extreme pain to get the little spring in here back in. It's really self-explanatory. You can see the spring right there really well. And basically you want to fit it in this bottom side here first. You want to put the piston sear inside the trigger sear, this little thing first, this little thing last. And you want to also have the spring sitting on the side so you can put it all up in there at once, then put the pin in right away, because it took me like an hour to get this thing right because I lost the spring and I had to modify an anti-reversal latch spring to fit in there. So it really does get to be a pain. Now hopefully that's all the maintenance you'll need to do on the trigger box, so you can go ahead and put that back on the pin there. Make sure it's all sitting snug back in there. Simple replacement. Let's put all the screws back in and tighten them down. Alright, I've got all the screws tightened down. It's all done. Hopefully this has helped you guys out some. If you have any more questions, please contact me. I will feel very humbled to help you guys out, all you little 12-year-olds out there that want to take apart your guns. Anyway, I'm Prodigy from ASTKilo23. Hope this has been educational and somewhat entertaining.